monsters. There they are. So I don't quite remember Wobbles' team. I do remember that it's got some interesting stuff on it, though. Just waiting for both of them to ready up.
Yeah,
and it does look like we got things a bit stacked in the favor of Tsubaki. I'm seeing near 60k channel points in his name.
That is right. It's about a 60-40, so not too stacked. But yeah, Tsubaki looking to be the favored in the chat so far. But hey, we're very familiar with Tsubaki's team. Very toxic heavy. 𝗧𝗵𝗶, 𝗧𝗵𝗺, 𝗧𝗵𝗺, I believe. Naga's Ragnet. Let's see what Wobbles brought to the table. As you said, I can't recall off the top of my head. So I'm actually very interested in this matchup.
That was right. It was the Tulkun 𝗧𝗵𝗶 combo that I was interested in here, along with the 𝗬𝗃 on a non-Sparks team, which is not something you usually see. Like 𝗬𝗃 is usually used in sort of Sparks lineups where it can really leverage its high speed. But if I recall correctly, Wobbles has been clicking that old Tesla prison a lot.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, only one win Temtem, so I believe that's what Tsubaki has been gunning down this whole tournament. Has so many toxic pressure, not trying to let any win Temtem slide, so Toucan will catch the ban, but Wobbles isn't a fan of the deceit or shenanigans, so does ban the Nagais. Not too bad. Let's see what Tsubaki wants to start things off. I feel like a 𝗧𝗵𝗺 isn't terrible without any win Temtems on the team.
The other thing that's nice here is that Tsubaki has 2 narcoleptic hit users, which are very strong into a lot of the melees that Wobbles has on, sort of on display right now. This, alongside the Kinu, which did not get banned, means that we could very well see a lot of mental pressure into Wobbles that he won't appreciate. He does have some outs here, though. Like, once again, 𝗵𝗵 changes a lot about how you can wind up playing these games, and we see an immediate Kinu pick into a 𝗵𝗇. Now, we've seen a lot of different 𝗵𝗇s these days in comparison to our classic sort of like dead hard supporty 𝗬𝗇. So do we remember anything about this one?
No, not off the top of my head. We saw so many games, so we'll try to analyze it early on in game 1 and see if it was a bit more of the offense heavy or some bulky special defense heavy like the typical classic 𝗵𝗇s. But hey, to your point, I think both of these tamers did not want to go a game without Kinu. So just guarantee, even though Kinu, not a lot of turn 1 pressure, just having that Kinu on your squad, really important. And yeah, we're seeing the prioritization here from both tamers. And hey, the 𝗧𝗵𝗺 doesn't feel too bad. The 𝗧𝗵𝗺 doesn't feel too bad, but it will be the 𝗧𝗵𝗺. Just some more nature coverage for that 𝗧𝗵𝗺. And as you said, narco hit for the 𝗵𝗇, narco hit for the 𝗀𝗟, narco hit for the 𝗧𝗵𝗺. All right, 𝗧𝗵𝗺 looking quite strong here, especially with the turn 1 Kinu buff. We'll see how it pans out, though.
I don't quite like Wobbles' matchup here. He needs to make sure he has as few toxics to deal with on the mirror as possible. I'm not entirely sure if 𝗵𝗇 was the best ban for him. Yeah, it does a ton into a lot of his stuff, and it's got tenderness, which you never like to see, but he has digitals to try to answer that, or I suppose he did until Tsubaki banned that. Makes a bit more sense in hindsight, perhaps. The one thing I think he's not scared of is the 𝗧𝗵𝗺. Like, 𝗧𝗵𝗺 just annihilates 𝗧𝗵𝗺 on a good day, alongside 𝗪𝗪, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. That is clean 4x damage. And hey, the 𝗵𝗵 getting picked up. We haven't seen too many 𝗵𝗵 shenanigans in the top cut. We did see a bit of fair amount in the Swiss. So let's see, is this going to be a double 𝗀𝗟, maybe a double 𝗧𝗵𝗺, or we'll see. But the 𝗧𝗵𝗺 does indeed get picked up. And even against all these toxic Tems, once 𝗧𝗵𝗺 has a clean heat up online, you still do some good damage, you know, sometimes 20-30% even then. So we'll see. Tsubaki versus Wobbles for our very first semifinals match. Let's see who's going to be taking game number 1.
All right, we've got kind of a mirror in our opener here. We've got 2 potentially aggressive, potentially defensive toxics up against 2 Kinus. So I'm kind of expecting the immediate swap from the Kinus here into something. Oh man, I love that. I love that 𝗵𝗵 name. Lol saying come out, and that would be pretty nice.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, hey, I'm feeling the 𝗀𝗟s for some reason coming out just to start getting online nice and early. I believe it would have camel meal so that 𝗧𝗪𝗀 doesn't pressure it all that much. I guess the narco hit kind of pressures Wobbles Yowler a bit more. But I feel like Tsubaki may be taking advantage of this and bringing out a Yowler of his own. Let's see.
My only concern here is that if Tsubaki reads this, that's a lot of beta burst that could land in that slot. But that comes at the cost of a wastewater onto the King, which doesn't do quite enough to take it down. The beta burst are going to be coming in there alongside the Toxic Ink. That's probably going to be what, upwards of like 60% of this Yowler's health. And then the poison ticks.
Wow. Insane. Tsubaki just on another planet with that read. Fantastic. I even said I thought Yowler looked good. I thought both players were being out Yowler, but Tsubaki always one step ahead of the curve, gonna be doubling it on that Yowler. And if funny enough, it wasn't camel meal, so those toxic ticks adding an additional 25%, as you said, when everything's all said and done. So impressive. Tsubaki with a really good start. However, it did come at a cost, right? King on death's door, one more entry, and I believe it goes down, right? Or would it survive by 0.8? It's 10%, right?
I think it still rounds down. I'm not 100% sure. It might survive on 1 hit point. I haven't seen too many instances of a King this low getting to swap out. So, like, we could potentially do some science today in these semis.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll keep an eye out. But I don't think Tsubaki will be letting this King here. I believe one narco hit will be more than enough to take down this Yowler from the remaining HP. So what does Tsubaki want to bring in? I mean, if he expects another wastewater, that 𝗧𝗪𝗀 doesn't feel too shabby.
Yeah, 𝗧𝗪𝗀 does look like that's what Tsubaki's going to be bringing here. If nothing else, it also, okay, that's probably trans. I believe that is trans, but it's certainly eating the wastewater excessively well, which, okay, so we see the overexertion happen here. That does look like it is a tireless Mashuk then, because I see the plus attack on it.
Yeah, I definitely just proc right there. So wait a second. I thought tireless was that you couldn't overexert. Did they change how tireless worked?
So tireless has changed. Basically, it gives you a +1 attack on the turn you are going to overexert. Currently, before you use the attack. Some people have been a bit concerned about this, but in the meantime, what this has meant is that Mashuk is able to go from like a very bulky, frustrating Tem to break down into just a wastewater monster, which overexerts after 2 of them and just immediately gets an attack bonus for the privilege of doing so and can immediately keep swinging.
Yeah, and to make matters worse, Wobbles like the Mashuk, so gonna go ahead and copy that Mashuk. So double tireless Mashuk potentially going in. So I believe it did overexert, as you noticed. So it's only the Mimic Mashuk able to do a little pressure here. But wait a second.
The other thing about tireless is you don't skip a turn when you overexert.
Oh, so true. That was what tireless originally did. So maybe double P-jab coming out on one of these Temtems. We will see.
Kind of what I'm expecting here. And do we see something to that tune over on this side? We do see the tireless proc again as an uppercut comes down, so it still procs. If you go down again, you're starting to see how this tireless can really pop off alone.
Yeah, it's very impressive. I completely did miss the patch notes there, but the tireless changed. But Bark Shield trying to make those +1 attacks, +2 attacks a little bit more nullified, so will bring +2 defense on both. So 𝗧𝗪𝗀 +3 defense plus that King buff, not too shabby. But yeah, Mashuk doing double damage with that wardrobe, not too shabby. So hey, Mimic, he's full of stamina, so ready to get things rolling. Uppercut P-jab online. Does he think he could take out this 𝗧𝗪𝗀 in one go?
I think the other thing to consider here is what's swapping into this, right? If King swaps in, it's still dying, because it comes in with either a sliver of its HP or none. We're about to find out. And it's a sliver, 7%, so it eats the P-jab, which is at least something. In the meantime, this Mashuk's just keeps gaining attack as it keeps uppercutting for nary a sliver of its HP.
Wow, that is so disgusting. That is +3, 150% increase on his attack, plus the wardrobe doing an additional 8%. Man, Mashuk looking so good. So wait a second, it never overexerts, it just sacrifices his HP. I thought it was just for the first time, but maybe they did change that. Mashuk looking really good.
is the thing, tireless. Okay, people just never used tireless because there was no reason to in comparison to Parrier, because the only other thing that gets tireless is Pyko, and well, Little Cup isn't exactly everybody's cup of tea. But in the meantime, now that it actually has the attack bonus, it's a distinct thing you can do on Mashuk, which combined with Wastewater means that you can run offensive Mashuk in a way you never could before.
Yeah, we're seeing it here. Wobbles representing it all the way in the semifinals. So yeah, I'm very impressed with this so far. Ragnik coming out, so it might be time for a little Seismic Direct, but no, Mashuk staying in. So P-Jab number 1. Do we get another one? And jeez. Yep.
And the Ragnik goes down in -1 defense and the +4 whopping attack on that Mashuk. We still have a Kinu in the back to potentially heal it up as well. This Mashuk is just never stopping.
Yeah, that is so impressive. So you just literally, this is a new mechanic, it almost feels like. Sacrificing HP, but you get +1 attack and you just keep on trucking. That is impressive. +4 attack, I believe that's like 3 times the damage it would normally do. I mean, it is coming at a cost. Is the cost enough? I mean, Wobbles is enjoying it so far. And yeah, 2 Temtems already down for Tsubaki. So Wobbles a bit ahead in terms of the Temtem department. However, Tsubaki does have a bit more setup. Disregarding the Mashuk, of course. Mashuk is all the way set up in terms of attack. But that Ninja Soul Noxolotl, very, very tanky indeed. So we will see how it pans out.
We still have another tireless Mashuk on the field as well, with Mimit copying the trait alongside everything else here. Once this Mashuk goes down, there's another one. Oh! And that just slapped that Yowler down to 0.3%. I never expected to exist in a world where Yowler's hit points fell down that quickly. That's absurd.
Yeah. I mean, there it goes. It was a +5. A +5 is no joke on any Temtem. So he went for a show off. But you know, I don't think anyone was prepared for how strong this tireless Mashuk can be. And you said it, Quarter. Kinu buffing up the Mimetize Mashuk here. And I think this Mashuk might be carrying Wobbles all the way to victory. He only has a Seismic in the back, which loves Ninja Soul and Noxolotl love to hear that. Doesn't mind getting earth pressured. But this Mashuk, I guess once Tireless starts rolling, it's gonna be more than enough to take care of the Noxolotl and the Hydra in the back. So we'll see.
What we can do with this as Tsubaki right now, like at this point we've got the Beta Burst just love tapping Chungustus there after the hard work was done by the Mashuk itself. We've got Noxolotl coming in trying to like reassert some order here with its effective buffs that it's gotten so far. It's certainly got itself online. It's got the +2 special attack. It's got the +2 special defense. It can try to do things here, but we still have a full HP size munch in the back. Once this Nidrisil goes down, it's Noxolotl against the world. And I do feel like at this point, Wobbles is just going to be focusing down that Nidrisil. P-jab after P-jab. And what do you do?
Yeah, exactly right. If he's able to get Dim-Mak as well, that's just a clean 80 HP going down. So P-jab, as you said, gunning down the Nidrisil. And Quarter, I'm smelling a Mashuk ban in game number 2 if I say so myself.
You might not be wrong. I feel like a lot of people have been sleeping on our tireless boy, and thanks to those Kinu buffs, it's not going down to these narcos yet. Like, there's still way too much that Tsubaki has to do here, and that Lolsame doesn't have to stop. Now, that said, one thing I will say on Tsubaki's side is that he's definitely raid bossed up his Nidrisil. Like, that's still +2 defense. That's a lot for Wobbles to get through, even with his tireless strats.
Yeah, and he is getting kind of low, so wait a second. Maybe Tsubaki's still not out of this by any means. As you said, +2 defense, Noxolotl +1 defense, and all this is physical pressure besides that Kinu there, so that's what we're paying attention to. So, tireless, as we keep saying, it does come at a cost. You do take away a little HP every single time. So maybe Tsubaki still has this one. We'll see. It's close.
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned. The other thing here is that Perfect Jab does cost more stamina than Uppercut. When you convert stamina to HP, at least in the old formula, I don't know if this part has changed, but it's like a 1-to-3 ratio. So when you OX like this, like every time you're paying like 3, then that turns into like 9 HP. That's manageable, but 15 is a bit more in terms of that if you're paying like 8 out of that.
The only thing I can see, if Inu is able to get a Revitalize on this Machoke, now I feel like Wobbles is looking good. But okay, gonna overexert one more time and not doing too much. All right, Inu desperately needs to... Oh, but the Nerku
does protect it enough. Okay, so you might be right here. We get the Revitalize off, and 𝗨𝗨 can still do what it needs to do here.
Yeah, I believe that's what Wobbles has in mind. And hey, funny enough, he doesn't like to rest. I mean, you don't need to when you have the tireless, but maybe just to preserve a little bit more HP. But I guess he wants the +1 attack. You have to overexert to get that +1 attack. So we'll see. I mean, if he's, as you said, if he's able to take care of 𝗬𝗫𝗀, 𝗧𝗵𝗇 is going to have a much easier time against his 𝗧𝗏𝗺. Dimmak comes online. One more swap, it will be online. So let's see, this turn, it feels like a Revitalize coming through. If he doesn't get that.
So, like, that's 2 Toxic Inks. Or alternately, an Acid Reflux that could just take out the Machoke if it makes the mistake of attacking. Like, we can assume that the Kinu's faster here and gets the Revitalize off. But this is still... oh, right, no, never mind. Narc hit exists and Pillow is happening. My mistake. Sorry, it's been a while since I've actually seen Nox.
Alright, so hey, forget the Mimic. Might as well Revitalize the 𝗧𝗵𝗇. So Narco... Oh!
This is looking like a stamina sap, and the reactive vial goes down as well. That's some pretty powerful plays there, but is the reactive vial going to be able to make it back after that much damage? We're down to 16.5 on Xena here.
Yeah, I guess just really wanted to get that Dimmak online, because it is online. It should be doing at least 50% of that remaining HP on the 𝗬𝗫𝗀, and then maybe Wobbles is praying that the Machoke can do the rest. But I don't know if he's wasting a lot of resources taking care of this 𝗬𝗫𝗀. He still has a big boy 𝗧𝗏𝗺 with that pillow to deal with as well. Yeah, you know, the more I see it, I feel like Tsubaki has it.
You're not wrong there. My only concern is that 𝗧𝗏𝗺 does not have a very high defense in comparison to 𝗏. Like, 𝗏's the big wall here, and it's officially in some pretty low turf. The Reflux, though, is just going to delete this board. I think you might be right. Wobbles has just 𝗨𝗨𝗪 and 2 narc hits staring it in the face.
Yeah, I mean, he can maybe kill the 𝗬𝗫𝗀 to just make that 1 narco hit. But I think the 1 narco hit just might be enough. But oh, of course, Mimic coming in becomes a 𝗬𝗫𝗀.
I forgot. Yeah, no, this changes things. I don't know if it does enough, because, you know, you're still gonna 𝗧𝗏𝗺 that's how do you take that out with 4% as a Mimic?
Yeah, there's not too much you can do there. Toxic Ink is about the best you got. You can't do what 𝗬𝗫𝗀 does best. Just slowly but surely nick away at it with some toxic pressure. So narco hit, waking it up. That's some good 20% or so. If he had a pillow, maybe a little bit closer, but Tsubaki-chan, very impressive set of games there. And Wobbles getting extremely close, but Tsubaki looks like he was never out of it too soon.
No, Tsubaki showing us how sticking to your guns and just picking away at your opponent's win conditions can still get you out of a sticky situation even when things don't go the way you expect.
And let's see what game number 2 has in store.
My hypothesis here is that Wobbles might be changing up his bans. Like, now that he knows he's got a lot of capacity to punch through things, like the Machoke's probably still banned, but like, does he let all these narc hitters through again? I mean, I suppose no, he still has to ban the Nagais. No, this is the problem. Like, I know Wobbles. He hates Nagais. He's never going to want to see that Nagais on the field. Even if he does have an answer to it, he doesn't want to see it. That's gone. So no, his bans are probably staying the same because he bans the 𝗵𝗶 as well because one of his chiefest win conditions is the 𝗵𝗶 play. But
he leaves the Toucan. Interesting. So what is he up to? I mean, good ban for Tsubaki, saying King was quite annoying to deal with. Let's just ban it turn 1. And then Tsubaki's the only tamer with the King. So starting off very, very aggressive, very powerful. Yowler King.
He's not even messing around either. That's King Yowler. That is just going straight for the throat, saying, "All right, cool. You've had your fun. I'm gonna try to knock this out of the park here." So we do see Wobbles throwing the Tulkan in instead. Now, if this is a heater Tulkan, I'm a little curious about that in your opener. Like, yes, I feel like you have to. Okay, actually, no. In hindsight, you have to pick it. Otherwise, Tsubaki second bans it. So, like, you take the L on the fact that you don't really get much value out of heater because obviously, you know, Yowler's probably showing off. King might be beta bursting, but might just be dabbing out because you've got wastewater to hit into it. But like, the win pressure on the rest of Tsubaki's Tems is going to be massive for Wobbles.
Yeah, very, very impressive amount of damage. Able to dish out on those toxic Temtems, but okay, no more 𝗵𝗶 shenanigans for this game number 2. Tsubaki does not like what he sees, and you know, he's right. A double Toucan against all those toxic Temtems might have done a number, but he has some electric Temtems, so maybe not too crazy. But yeah, you know, 𝗬𝗎𝗀 was low-key. One of the MVPs was the Bark Shield user, which made 𝗬𝗎𝗀 so tanky that not even those plus attacks from 𝗵𝗶 can really do a number on it. So I think that was an excellent ban for Wobbles as well. And I think both good bans all around for both tamers.
No, I think these bans are good. I like the Nid ban. I think that Wobbles has more than enough tools, partially because the 𝗵𝗶 got banned instead. Like, because it was the 𝗵𝗶 ban, this means that he has the OB10 to deal with the 𝗵𝗶 through Plasma Beam and Tesla Prison and things like that, right? Like, he's got other tools that he can use with OB1 to support his team. This means that it's also more important for him to just ensure that Tsubaki doesn't have the way to shore himself up in the same way.
And I don't believe we didn't see 𝗧𝗵𝗶 last game, right? It didn't get picked up, right? So this is gonna be the first time we see it in the semifinals from Wobbles. Let's see if that's gonna carry him to success. I know Wobbles wants to make it a game 3, but Tsubaki wants to just head over to the finals. Let's see what goes down. Tsubaki versus Wobbles, semifinals, game number 2. And as you said, heater already going off here.
Camo Yowler too, so he's just kind of accepting it. Oh, but that does go through camo. I keep forgetting that's a thing because it procs before the camo sets because of the new sort of speed order for items. That's really interesting. So we still have a burn off. It's some damage, I guess. But
yeah.
Okay, how many OB1s have you? Sorry, OB10s have you seen lately? Because I'm enamored with this Tem. It's one of my favorite Tems that we've gotten so far.
Yeah, hands down one of the most unique traits in the game. One of the best, probably the best support trait in the game. Just, what is it called?
Sort Duplicator, yes. Means that it can duplicate the status conditions on it to its partner. Meaning that you get those lovely double burrows and double bushes. In the meantime, though, we see the half-full 𝗧𝗵𝗆 drop in here. So we got two pretty buff things that Wobbles has to take down, but that's a lot of damage immediately into 𝗧𝗵𝗆. Even after the baton pass, that is down to 17.8.
Yeah, so another barrage like that will bring that 𝗧𝗵𝗆 all the way down. I mean, if he lives, he has a heavy Thunder Strike staring down that Toucan. But let's see. I mean, Tsubaki has that baton pass, so maybe willing to trade it in and out. But hey, speaking of the 𝗧𝗵𝗆 making his appearance, thinking about the Thunder Strike, and oh, tireless already?
Yep, 2 wastewater, all you need to slam with 𝗵𝗶. And now we have something that is more than capable of getting more sort of buffs over onto this 𝗵𝗶 in the form of burrow and other sort of evasion creators, which is one thing that Obi is very known for at the moment. It also gives you a very sort of good speed control, which can really help in these sorts of situations. We do, however, see another buff on Yowler, so I feel like Wobbles has his work cut out for him. He did it once. Can he take down Chungustus a second time and still have the momentum to take out the rest of the team?
Yeah, we'll see. Of course, Tsubaki has to know the stamina isn't infinite, but for the time being, there is really nothing touching this Yowler. And man, at +2/+2, you could almost just leave it on the board and keep dishing out the pain. He does have a chamomile, so when the time comes that he has to retreat it, if that time does come, we will find out. Then, of course, all those buffs will be erased when it hits back onto the battlefield. But let's see what the 𝗬𝗵𝗶, the 0B10 have online. I believe it's going to be a 1 prio burrow if he wants to keep that 𝗬𝗃 protected. He would have like a plasma beam, Tesla prison. What else can the 0B10 do?
Those are kind of its biggest sort of draws. It's got sparks, but I don't think that's going to see much use on Wobbles' team. It's got cooperation, a not often used move that has seen a bit of a rise due to the stamina changes, but not really useful with the tireless strat, since that just averages out your stamina. I think your burrow suggestion is probably the best one.
Yeah, burrow probably still outspeeds the Yowler, so let's check it out. And hey, 𝗬𝗃, I am loving what I'm seeing. Wastewater, you know, it doesn't do too much, a little bit under 20%. Is that a parrier? Okay, classic versus the new school. Let's see who takes it down.
All right, and we do see the Source Replicator Burrow come out here. One thing that's really fun about it is, even though that's a 1 prio move, OB10, it's got a high base speed. You invest in that sucker, and it is going way before a lot of other things. As you can see, it went before the Yowler there, meaning that it was more than capable of still getting off when it needed to. And it still has Bush available to do this again.
Yeah, exactly right. We gotta pay attention. Wobbles 𝗬𝗃 at +2 attack. It's Bamboozled, so kind of safer right now, but you know, it does have Bush, or yeah, 𝗬𝗵𝗶 does have Bush. You could also just throw a little digital attack onto 𝗬𝗃 just for the double damage, but then his 0B might be going down. But no, 𝗬𝗃 just came in for 1 turn, swapping back, and whoa, this is getting out of hand.
This is just raid boss the Yowler. He's Tsubaki is wasting no time here. He is just working on getting everything up and running and ensuring that he doesn't get himself in the same situation as he did last game, where he had to fall back on more of a stall-oriented tactic when he could just be throwing out damage with Chungustus. Like, if you can get into a situation where your first win con doesn't go down, that's always better than needing to rely on your secondary. And it definitely looks like Tsubaki is playing hardball.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you usually don't want to put all your eggs in just one basket, but when the basket is Yowler, I think you can very well get away with that. So yeah, well done for Tsubaki, playing the Kinu game very well. Let's see, I mean, as we saw, 𝗬𝗃 at +3 didn't really do too much to that +3 defense Yowler. So man, it's going to take a powerhouse of some attacks to take this Yowler down. And he's kind of just chilling. I believe the chamomile has expired, but Wobbles doesn't really have toxic Temtems to just chip away at it like we've seen in the past. So yeah, I'm wondering, what is Wobbles' game plan to deal with this big boy Yowler? It might be inevitable. Yowler might just run away with this game here.
No, that's very concerning at this point with the +3 on both defenses. Wobbles needs to start putting more pressure into it. I think his best plan here is just like try to inhibit it with burn, given that it doesn't actually have too much going for it. But it looks like he's just going straight into the Kinu instead. That uppercut still doing an absurd amount of damage. The sacrifice goes down, making it a +5 of a bear. Yeah, no, it looks like the defensive plays of OB10 have been circumvented by the sheer power of what if I sit here and buff instead?
Yeah, you know, normally you would swap out a Yowler, but with Wobbles not emitting enough pressure, Tsubaki has just have the privilege of just staying in and buffing officially raid boss Yowler 100% online. +5 defense, +5 special defense, and now doing double damage. Yowler looking to one-shot almost anything it touches. Man, this is looking a little bit rough for Wobbles. Is Tsubaki going straight to the finals? I mean, the 0B10 doing a great job at mitigating a lot of damage. Those Bamboozles doing a fantastic job, but with the Noxolotl now on the board, it's going to be a little bit more troublesome.
You see the burn come out here, which is going to do something to help mitigate this. The wastewater comes down too with a bit of, like, that's still a lot to overexert with, but it's doing something here. The suplex, however, is going to just delete this Mashuk. But we have seen already this Yowler go straight from a very high total to much lower, thanks to both of the damage over time effects, which of course don't care about any damage, sort of defense buffs on top of them. It's one of the ways you can try to winnow away at threats like these when they emerge.
Yeah, you know, that wasn't too bad. Of course, now Bush is online for 0v10 as well. But I mean, Tsubaki just did it before. You could just double the same spot. 𝗧𝗪𝗺 pops the bamboozle, and then Yowler goes in. But you know, we did say stamina was going to be a factor here. It is Temtem with the stamina system. So Yowler having to either overexert quite heavily or has to rest here. And man, this is the problem about chamomile. Of course, it's such a fantastic item, but it doesn't give you the easy swap out, because man, if you swap out now, you have to give up +2 attack, +5 defense. Let's see, this is gonna be tough. I thought Tsubaki was looking really good. I think there might be a way.
Wobbles has to be very careful here. If he plasma beams that bear, then he actually just unfreezes it early. You have to be very careful throwing burn around when people throw freeze around like this. Otherwise, you're just letting the bear out of the ice.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So I think Wobbles did indeed know. He just decided to rest on that symbiosis. So we'll see. Maybe just leave Shungus to rest for the time being and just gun down that right spot. Doesn't feel like a bad idea. Of course, Tsubaki narco hit online. I believe Acid Reflux now online as well. And Burrow should go after, but we did say the Bush is online, of course. He hasn't used this just yet, and that is a 3 prio move. So I believe Wobble's 100% safe from the 𝗧𝗪𝗺's attack for this turn.
And here's why you can't reset a status effect if you already have it. If he bushes right now, he will only be able to share the regen, not the evade.
Very true, very true. That 1 tick of bamboozle still remaining wouldn't be added onto the Yowler. So yeah, good call, Quarter. So hey, maybe just some good comebacker damage onto the 𝗧𝗪𝗺 or the Tsubaki. Yeah, I think 𝗧𝗪𝗺, just with a good narco hit, most likely should be the most damage he can do right now. But I want to say
the burnout alongside the suplex might be enough. It's tough to say.
Yeah, it could be close. I almost want Wobbles to target down this Yowler, but if Plasma Beam is the only attack he has, yeah, you can't wake it up like that. So maybe just take advantage while Yowler can't dish out any damage and clean up the left spot perhaps.
Look like that is the current play. The narc hit coming out with the burn, making it much more palatable to Wobbles, as he also throws down immediately with the burn tick alongside the other stuff. Oh no, never mind. Trance clears it. My mistake. The burn tick would have killed this 𝗧𝗪𝗺, but Trance saves it at the last possible moment. Just another way in which Trance just gives value.
Yeah, and of course the Savage Suplex as well, eliminated first, but yeah, Trance Tray even taking it away further. But I think one more Plasma Beam, I didn't see if that was enough for the 11%. I actually don't think it was, so 𝗧𝗪𝗺 most likely able to get off one more attack before going down. But then the real problem comes online again at turn number 10. That is when Yowler will be awake. The hibernation has been done. And now all that stamina ready to go burr onto Wobble Squad. And still not a clean answer.
I'm looking at this board, and my concern here is that Tsubaki isn't doing enough to Wobbles right now. Like, despite all of the setups that are happening, like, because of the hibernation and everything like that, yes, Chungustus is safe. It just hasn't been doing things on the board. And this has given Wobbles a lot of time to just carve holes in Tsubaki's lineup before this terror bear returns to the field.
And yeah, exactly right. Letting Wobbles just get free show-offs as we're seeing here. So matching the strength of Tsubaki's Yowler, +2 attack, hitting double damage. We just see Tsubaki is going with a parrier Mashuk. So able to eat up those physical attacks quite well. Alright, but the beast has awakened. So does Wobbles wants to start targeting it now? Plasma Beam, Savage Suplex. At +5 defense, I don't even know if it's going to be enough to take it down.
think that's his best outcome here. He's got Natsu in the back to deal with everything not named Chungustus. Tulkin, I think, is more than capable of taking out Parry or Mashuk, and even +5 special defense 𝗧𝗵𝗶 isn't going to appreciate the attacks that Natsu's bringing down. As we've seen with Valorant, like if you're weak to an attack, even when you're fully raid bossed, you still don't like taking it.
Yeah, and of course the little 30% reduction, nullifying things like comebacker, or pretty much, right? It would be kind of equaled out there.
Mm-hmm.
That wouldn't be too bad as well.
Yeah, the fact that comebacker has been brought down to the point where it is equivalent to burn, it's something. I know a lot of people have opinions about that, but it's you know, we're chipping away at some of the more terrifying things about Yowler over time.
Yeah, at least they did something. The Crema agreeing with us that, yeah, it's a little bit over tweaked in terms of stats. But all right, Size Munch coming in, trying to get that 𝗵𝗵𝗃 a little bit earlier, because 𝗵𝗵𝗃 does not care about all that defense you have. So let's see, Savage Suplex. It doesn't seem like it'll be... Oh, I misspoke.
That totals Gruka, taking it immediately out of the game. This is the part where Wobbles has to act fast, and yeah, maybe that plasma beam would have been a nice thing to have there, eh? We can't say for sure because that was a lot of HP that dropped there, and that was very quick, but maybe, you know, it's hard to say because I don't know the spread of this particular bear. If that's like a 500 attack bear, then yeah, that's kind of a problem, and it would explain why Tsubaki spent so long setting it up. This is like some kind of a glass cannon murder bear.
Yeah, definitely. And man, I'm impressed because that wasn't even with comebacker trade as well, because Wobbles Yowler didn't even get on attack there. But oh my goodness, the second hibernate. This was what Tsubaki had in mind the whole time. This Chungustus isn't going anywhere. Buff it up to the teeth and then just keep hibernating even without the chamomile. It's still such a strong... Okay, this is something to do. Double heat up. Okay, you got to get the damage somehow here.
The problem, however, now is we're back in the situation where by ignoring Obi-10, Tsubaki has inhibited its capacity to protect its partner because Burrow is still on for Symbiosis here, so it can't bush in a couple turns to help out its boy Xena. In the meantime, though, it could still throw some plasma beams down on Boxstrom, but I think at this point you take the bear out of the box again and try to do something about this, or you like bring in the bird and just try to take down everything not named Yowler.
Yeah, of course, Natsu in that back line, super strong against 𝗧𝗵𝗃 and the Mashuk. And hey, Quarter, that's not a visual bug, right? It's actually at +5 defense and Madness buff, Trance Trait, and Kinu buff, if I remember correctly.
Yep. I believe it took a P-jab, but it is very high up there. And yeah, no, it's still going to take a lot to take that down. Obviously, the regen takes going off in the back there, bringing it from a very uncomfortable 11% up to a much more reasonable 41 means that it's going to take more than a wind burst to take that sucker down, especially with the already pretty respectable special defense of 𝗧𝗵𝗃.
Yeah, we'll see. So maybe they're not still in the back line, not looking too fantastic against the Nox, but definitely against the Mashuk, but hasn't seen the time of day just yet in this game number 2. I mean, the bigger problem right now is that big boy Yowler. Can Wobbles take this bad boy down? Way easier said than done, but he is at +4 attack, so I'm curious to see how much damage it can actually do. If it's something like 30, 40, maybe there's a wiggle room to take care of that Yowler.
The uppercuts could be enough to like try to take it back, but like no, instead we see the wreck immediately come down, trying to get that Earthbound on there as well, as Boxstrom is removed through the wreck. The Parry removing the Earthbound as well, even though it didn't do any actual damage. The suplex with the comebacker, just you saw how fast that went down.
Insanely fast. So I think with that, is Yowler completely out of hand? Yeah, maybe a Berkeley would have been nice right there, but just want to guarantee the kill on Mashuk. But 𝗧𝗵𝗃, this is the final 2 Temtems remaining on both sides. And one of these guys is officially 100% raid boss. Actually, both of these Temtems are pretty much raid boss. +5 special attack is insane. One thing that's saving Wobbles for now is I believe Bush is back online if I remember right.
Yeah, that is. My only concern is if Wobbles isn't just throwing pressure, like Wobbles is stuck between a rock and a hard place. Like if he takes the time to try to secure his side of the board, that's just more time that Tsubaki can laugh and click hibernate again. And like it also is more time that Nox has to get the hold for acid reflux, which is obviously going to do some pretty frightening things onto this board, even with some of the resists that are here. Digital, of course, resisting Toxic. We see the tornado come down from Natsu, and is this going to be enough? It is still enough to take down the Noxolotl, the high special attack and the hand vent, enough to outstrip the +5 special defense from our boy Nox. So it is just Yowler against the world. It's just, this is a big world. Fiery Heist might be something here.
Yeah, but you know what? This burrows every other turn, right? Or is it a 0 hold? I'm pretty sure it's 1 hold, right?
It's every other turn, yes.
Okay, so you can't perma burrow here, because if you could, then Wobbles just won the game. But yeah, every other turn, Bush somewhere in between that. You know what? Maybe there is a chance for Wobbles here. Of course, Tsubaki can hibernate again, but that'll just leave 𝗬𝗵10 to just recover all his stamina, ready to dish out the pain after that. Did Wobbles just bring things back? I honestly didn't expect the Noxolotl to go down with a single tornado. That's some impressive special attack on that Firebird.
Yeah, people have been kind of sleeping on how good a wind attacker Tulkun is. I feel like a lot of people looked at it, so it only had one fire move that does damage. Like, I don't have to care about this bird. When in the meantime, it's just out there with a hand fan destroying things. So we see the Fiery Heist come down. So this removes the item through Seize, and it gives 2 turns of burn. And then we see the burrow come online from Symbiosis here. I kind of would have liked to see a Bush first, perhaps, but no, he's correctly reading the rest out of Tsubaki instead, knowing that he needs to be careful about his stamina when he's up against 2 separate combatants.
Yeah, let's see. I believe, does hibernate work the other way? If you already burn, if you hibernate here, do you not get the frozen? I've never seen that interaction. I would hope it doesn't, because that sounds a bit crazy. We
might just learn that this coming turn, because if that does work that way, that would be an excellent thing for Tsubaki to click right now. So far, there's some arguments in chat. Some people are saying it gets frozen. Some people are saying that it does not work that way. Some people saying it does. We don't wind up seeing it, as instead we see the evade get broken on Natsu, and a lot of the stamina go down from our friend Natsu. Done! Inverse symbiosis, allowing the burrow to come back online. The suplex drops again, and the OX happens. This Wobbles is taking it back.
Yeah, absolutely incredible stuff for Wobbles. I think he nailed it. Wobbles looking to come back. Shungus just overexerted Fiery Haze burrow, and he could kind of just rinse and repeat this entire stuff. I think that is GG. Wobbles from the depths of defeat, bringing it back against this raid boss Yowler. Impressive. I thought Tsubaki had it in the bag, but Wobbles never ever giving up. And I think with that combo that he just did right there, I was wondering how he can get another bamboozle. Of course, just break it, burrows 1 prior, you go after that, and then Yowler attacks following that. So I think with that combo right there, Wobbles making it very interesting game 3 situation, folks.
Yes, no, that was incredible. Wobbles recognizing the fact that his own evade was the thing holding back Obi-10, and then actually using Windburst, which is a low stamina cost move, to try to counteract that, taking advantage of the low speed of Yowler, which just can't interrupt that combo. It just can't. Puts Tsubaki in such a bad position trying to actually exert pressure with this tactical nuke that he's built.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, so much credit for Tsubaki. He did such a great job buffing up this Yowler. But there we go. This is why 𝗧𝗵𝗫 is such a fantastic Temtem, especially as support, enabling this Natsu to do what he does. So man, if you guys don't have a 𝗧𝗵𝗫, man, you might have to pick one up sooner than later. It's one of the better Temtems coming out from the Cipanku patch. But Tsubaki, we're seeing here using a lot of that reserve time for trying to find it out, and it looks like he connected.
Goes down. Wobbles takes it to a game 3. So my question is, how is he going to change that? Is he going to change it, or is he just going to try to learn from his mistakes and how he played that game?
Yeah, we will see. Of course, Wobbles, I believe he's going to stick to his guns. He's going to ban that 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 counters the team quite impressively. So I think the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is still going to get the ban. But Tsubaki didn't ban the Toucan, and the Toucan ended up winning the game for Wobbles. So maybe he goes back to the Toucan. He tried the Kinu ban, didn't work out too much, and there it goes. The Toucan does get the ban, so that might be the difference maker here.
Yeah, I know that Tolkien taking out the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 there is something that nobody expected, but it really goes to show how much base damage can change something in terms of things. The stab alongside the hand fan, alongside the very high investment that must have been there for that tornado to do that much, really just changing the course of last game.
Yeah, honestly, it was at +5 special defense, and it was like at 44% or something. I was thoroughly impressed to see that go down in just a single tornado. But yeah, as you said, the hand fan, the stab, just the high special attack. Let's see, Tsubaki. This is where it gets tense here. This is what separates the boys from the men's. Who's going to be taking it home? 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, fantastic. It was another Temtem that got banned. So Tsubaki does get able to play this Temtem. How does Wobbles want to start off? He's been leaning towards that 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, but
Even Tsubaki, a taste of his own medicine, immediately just picks Kinu Yowler. So this is just, once again, we're going into hardball here.
That is right, and of course, if Wobbles picks up the Kinu, so will Tsubaki. However, a little Kinu buff on Yowler, I feel, goes a little bit further, but 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is the answer to the Yowler. Yowler currently does have the chamomile, but narco hit after narco hit will start adding up. But we saw the hibernate in these couple games, so maybe, or actually, wait, Wobbles also had a chamomile, right? I'm confusing Tsubaki's Yowler, but I'm pretty sure it did.
Wobbles doesn't run chamomile on his Yowler.
All right, so those toxic attacks might do a number even with the Kinu buff here.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, that's one of the things that made it so hard for him to swap in with it on that first game, where he like hard swapped it into both the beta burst and the toxic ink, which absolutely clobbered the poor bear.
Yeah, so that is tough. Not as effective as what Tsubaki started with. So even with this Yowler game buffed up a bit, those 12.5% times 2, it's a little bit too much to deal with. So we'll see if Wobbles wants to stay in. He doesn't really have effective turn 1 damage. He could just show off, but he's going to be eating a boatload of damage with that double up. And all right, it looks like the 𝗧𝗵𝗫𝗏𝗏 getting the van. Oh, guys, 𝗵𝗵𝗏 hands for 𝗧𝗵𝗫𝗏𝗏, but at least we get some Mimit today.
Yeah, I was expecting that after its performance there. One other thing to note is that Wobbles banned out the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, meaning that one of the narc hits is out. Obviously, we still have a beta burst, but that's just one less thing that Tsubaki has to stop the double 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 from popping off the same way it did in game 1.
Yeah, that is right. So this is it. Who is going to the finals today? Tsubaki trying to make it count. Wobbles trying to make it himself. One of these guys will be moving forward. Let's go ahead and find out. Both of these guys getting a protector buff nice and early, but I believe the slight edge for 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, especially without that chamomile. So what can Wobbles do to try to eat that up? Maybe 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 doesn't feel terrible, but you still have to eat a beta burst, so that is still tough.
Yeah, nothing really likes coming in here. Like, once again, because of the positioning, the Mimit doesn't even particularly enjoy this. Like no matter what happens, you're kind of in a rough spot for that one. We see the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 come in on the Kinu spot rather than anywhere else, so this could very well be a double into the bear. Is this perhaps just like a distraction on his part while he tries to get everything set up? Because that's what it's appearing to be. As the show off happens anyway, we get a Vigorize off onto our bear right here, so it does mean that it can throw things around, getting a bit more stamina off. Is it gonna live to be able to do that?
Yeah, I mean, technically right now from the 1-2 punch, that was over 50%. So literally another double up like that will do the remainder. And now Narco Hit is online, so that would be even more damage. Narco Hit plus a Beta Burst will take down the Yowler. If Tsubaki wants to read the Yowler swapping out for something like the Kinu, he can do those exact same attacks onto the Mashuk. But that's going to take the read if he overthinks it. All right, let's see. Is it going to be a Kinu? It will indeed. So buffing up that tireless Mashuk. Where does Tsubaki throw the pressure?
Okay, so this does look like Wobbles is going for the same win condition he pushed in game 1, where he's getting the tireless Mashuk online, going for Wastewaters early as the Beta Burst comes down onto the Mashuk, but it's alongside the Narc hit. This is a lot of damage on our boy. Like this Kinu needs to be really like on the ball protecting this mushroom, or alternately we need to see the Mimic come out like ASAP to copy this now before anything else happens, because Tsubaki's learned from his mistakes. He is not ignoring this thing and letting it set up into the doom shroom that damn near one-shot a Yowler.
Very true. And yeah, absolutely. I mean, Tsubaki, wonderful read there. We were saying if he wants to read the Yowler swap, go into the Mashuk. He did exactly that. So 𝗧𝗵𝗆 does come in. Let's see what he expected. It looks like Wobbles kept everything on his board. How is he dealing with Mashuk this turn? Oh, the Revitalized though. Okay, keeping that Mashuk a little bit more healthy than he would otherwise, but tireless. So another Wastewater. Not too bad there.
This is looking pretty dire. The Kinu does wind up taking a Toxic Ink, but it's got just enough HP to potentially sacrifice onto this Shook, which would be disastrous for Tsubaki. Getting a +3 onto this Mashuk, even with no other forms of healing, means it's going to tear a bloody swath before it's done.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, it will. You know, it takes the HP from itself, so it does go down to itself eventually. But yeah, a little sacrifice, better than hitting the Kinu into the back line and then not doing any. Actually, you would still have. Actually, no. It would die in the back line. So sacrifice into Mimic, that becomes a 𝗧𝗵𝗆.
No.
What?
Oh no, he steals the win condition as he sacrifices onto the full HP 𝗧𝗵𝗆 clone. Another great Mimic play from Wobbles. As yeah, no, this is gonna eat up pretty much everything on this side of the field. Like it doesn't mind the Narc hit, which I'm assuming is coming in next. Yep.
Wow.
And it's got double screen. That was nothing.
Yeah, beautiful, fantastic play for Wobbles, stealing the 𝗧𝗵𝗆 while it's there. But something to know, it didn't get the half full trait. This half full only happened when it comes onto the board. Maybe that it came in as a Mimic and then became a 𝗧𝗵𝗆.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's how it worked. The order of operations is usually that traits that activate when you hit the board don't fire until the next time you come onto the board. Because technically you're coming onto the board as that temp.
Yeah, that's a really cool interaction. We see there's so much Shook coming back. I believe one more Wastewater will take down Tsubaki's 𝗧𝗵𝗆 there. And Fire Tornado, not just online. However, Fire Tornado is such an effective technique versus that Nidosil, which he didn't really have answers to. So that was a good play. If Wobbles is able to get a Fire Tornado onto this Hydra Nidosil, things are looking to shape out not too bad for the side of Wobbles, but I dare say, I don't think Tsubaki's going to let that go so easy. So maybe swaps into something like his Mushroom, or yeah, I think it's only the Mashuk that can eat it quite well.
My concern here is, what does Tsubaki do in the face of his own 𝗧𝗵𝗆? Right? Like, this thing's perfectly capable of doing a significant amount of damage to most of his team. I think Mashuk, as you say, is about the only thing that doesn't, like, well, okay, Mashuk and Yowler both are fine taking hits from it, but it's not exactly a comfortable thing. The Wastewater, as you said, does come down. With the tireless buff, it is more than capable of taking out the 𝗧𝗵𝗆. Goes down to 35% in doing so. Toxic Inks coming down on Lol, same here, as it does wind up doing more damage from the Toxic Inks than anything else. The Burrow coming in there, making sure that it's just going to continue being a pain on Wobbles' side of the board.
Yeah, not too bad. Burrow, okay. Or we haven't even seen Burrow from Tsubaki's 𝗧𝗵𝗆, so helping it stay alive a little bit longer. And now Fire Tornado will be online. So 𝗧𝗪𝗀 has to maybe hit the back line. Let's see. So, oh, but the 𝗧𝗪𝗀 gets brought in here. So what does he have to swap in? Maybe just ready to let the 𝗬𝗎 go, perhaps. Just come in, get Protector. And okay, maybe the Fire Tornado gets redirected onto 𝗧𝗪𝗀 either way.
That's possible. Once again, though, the 𝗬𝗎 will survive at a sliver of its HP, meaning it might just be there to like eat and attack. The problem is the 𝗧𝗪𝗀's probably going first. So if this is clever and it's actually just an uppercut or a P-jab, then we're still seeing a Fire Tornado into the 𝗧𝗪𝗀, which is probably not what Tsubaki wants.
All right, Wastewater, let's see where it's going. Okay, just in case it stayed in, just trying to do some neutral pressure, but 𝗬𝗎, that is all it has left. So wait, did I miss the Fire Tornado there?
Oh, 𝗧𝗵𝗆 is just really slow.
Oh,
like, really slow. I've been frustrated by how slow. I've been messing around with 𝗧𝗪 myself, and one of the things you have to remember is that unless you've got 𝗬𝗪, it is not going first. So we did like this is why I was saying the 𝗧𝗪𝗀 was definitely going to be outspeeding that 𝗧𝗪 and just like hitting into the 𝗬𝗎 before anything else happens. It makes sense in that case for the 𝗬𝗎 to sort of be a suicide there, and for the 𝗧𝗪𝗀 to try to just take the punishment instead, which, as we saw, it did pretty well.
yeah, not too bad. As we said, 𝗧𝗪𝗀, one of the better Temtems to eat that Fire Tornado, and as you said, ate it really, really well, just about 15%, a little bit over. So not too bad. Let's see. I mean, Wobbles can't retreat the Mimic because he kind of needs that 𝗧𝗪𝗆 for the 𝗧𝗪𝗀. So, man, this is a tough position Wobbles is in, because I know he doesn't want to keep it on here for too much longer. I believe a double up. Actually, he has a Bamboozle online, so not a double up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more concerned about the HP on this 𝗧𝗪𝗀 and what he's going to be able to do to Boxroom, which is perfectly capable of just sort of sitting there. And never mind, he just goes straight for the throat, sacrificing the last of his HP to do well over half of this Yowler's HP. And the Thunderstrike comes down as well, and we are already looking at a 17% Yowler. This thing's just liquefying one of the chunkiest Tems in the game.
Yeah, and what was it before it went down? It was at +3, right? That wasn't even +5 or anything, just a simple +3. But that just goes to show you, Wastewater, such a fantastic trait, or not trait, but moveset on 𝗧𝗪𝗀. And you get that additional Toxic Tick without the chamomile. Obviously didn't apply because of the chamomile. But alright, as you said, Yowler on death's door. I believe one little Thunderstrike will bring it down. And I think 𝗧𝗪𝗆 is slow, but Yowler seems to be slower. So able to do it that way. If not, maybe 𝗧𝗪𝗆 has to do the deed. One uppercut, is that enough, man? I wonder. 17.6%. It might be kind of close.
I know that Wobbles does build his Tems pretty aggressive. I don't know if a single unboosted uppercut is going to be enough. My other concern here is if that 𝗧𝗪𝗆 does have Fiery Heist, that would be an excellent thing to throw into this 𝗧𝗪𝗀 just to try to like winnow things down a bit. But we do see Hydra come in again, trying to make sure that the Yowler doesn't just auto die, given that's such a valuable win condition for Tsubaki. He doesn't even gamble here. He goes straight for the Urushiol onto 𝗓𝗪𝗂, just trying to get this thing off the board before it causes too much trouble.
Yeah, what a beautiful play there. So guaranteed the death of this Volt here. 2 more turns. 2 more turns at 24.2%. Okay, so now he has to sacrifice his Yowler because Fire Tornado will be online. So better than sacrificing 𝗧𝗪𝗀, and then Fire Tornado won't even be online to hit the 𝗧𝗪𝗀. Man, Tsubaki's playing this perfectly so far. I believe 𝗧𝗪𝗀 will be that MVP. Has Narco hit for all these Temtems, or for 𝗧𝗪𝗆, and you know, Allergic Spray goes a long way on 𝗧𝗪𝗆 as well.
The Yowler still does go down to the Fire Tornado. I was still a little curious about that, given that it's likely that 𝗵𝗵 had no special attack investment. But now, as you say, the 𝗧𝗪𝗆's kind of uncontested. That said, okay, I say kind of uncontested. We have a +2 𝗧𝗪𝗆 on the board. Like, yeah, Narc is kind of a problem, but so's the pressure that comes out from the Yowler in the back that still exists. It's not exactly like it stopped living. And the wreck that's going to be coming up from Xeno this term, which we saw do a lot to Tsubaki's Tems last game. Now, granted, that was from a +4. This is just a +2, and it's not looking like it's the same thing as we saw last time. The T-Strike's coming down onto the Machoke, just trying to get that bit more damage just before 𝗨 goes down, and things are looking very close in this final game.
Yeah, but not close enough. Wobbles with the Yowler with the 𝗧𝗵𝗶, but not a clean answer against this Ninja. So we just saw a 𝗧𝗵𝗶 direct with a +2 heat up, and it only did about 10 to 15%, so just not enough. There's Machoke with the sweatband just P-jabbing it up. So I think Tsubaki should be taken down. I mean, one allergic spread wins the game from Toxic Ticks alone. If Ninja and Machoke can survive until then, that will be GG Tsubaki.
Yeah, that's very true. The fact that at this point an allergic spread is just going to wipe this board clean puts kind of a timer on this, but I suppose I just don't like discounting the amount of damage Yowler can actually output here. With the dim mock on 𝗧𝗵𝗶 as well, even though it's overexerted now, I'm... Maybe I'm holding out false hope here, but I just don't think Tsubaki's necessarily out of the woods yet. There's no denying he's in a strong position now.
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, comebacker trait could pop off. Does he have enough to take down the Ninja though? So damn. Oh.
Is that going to be a wastewater? Be the so that we've seen? I think that's all the moves that we've seen on Tsubaki's Machoke. Now we've seen, I believe, a P-jab, an uppercut, and a Rushial, and a wastewater. So that's a good selection of moves there. But with 12.5%. Once again, Tsubaki's just one step ahead of Wobbles. As you predicted, Tsubaki takes game 3 and advances to our grand finals.
That is right. Congratulations to Tsubaki-chan. What a heck of a series indeed.